So you mean to say the value-based anything, whether it is politics, whether it's business, even game of cricket, you really think that the masses don't really appreciate that?
Masses may appreciate, but they may not practice. See, it's one thing to say that I am against corruption. It's another thing to say I am not corrupt. Two different things. You know, I say this all the time. I was asked by somebody, what's your view on corruption? And my answer to them was, I have no views on corruption. But I can tell you, I am not corrupt. Guaranteed. But I cannot say same thing about anybody else. I don't know. So all of these things, you know, you will say I'm unhappy because everybody else is corrupt. But I'm also corrupt then. You know, so these are double standards. Indians tend to have split level consciousness. They tell you what you want to hear, turn opposite and turn against and say exactly opposite, and they are very comfortable, which is strange to me. If I say something to you and I don't mean it, I won't be able to sleep at night. But here, he says, ho jayega. That doesn't mean he's going to do it. You want to hear ho jayega, so he says ho jayega. Then he turns around and does something exactly opposite. And he's very comfortable. I think there's a serious problem here in our own character. So masses might say one thing, that I don't like, you know, corruption in cricket. But are they willing to say, I am not corrupt? I think that's the crux of the matter.
Maybe that's why these days people have to take sleeping pills to go to sleep.
Whatever. You know.
When you know, it just sounds as if just the other day, when you had Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Sarvapalli Dr. Radhakrishnan, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Kavi Guru Rabindranath Thakur, Vivekanand, Narsi Mehta, Vaishnav Vajan to Tene Re Kahiye, Lokmanya Tilak, Dada Bhai Navroji, Bipin Chandra Pal, and you know, I can go on, and Lala Lajpat Rai, Gandhiji of course, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Rajendra Prasad, Vallabhbhai Patel. I mean, it was just the other day. Don't you think that we have changed, or the society has changed little too fast? And where are those people? And I always say, Sam, that if you take the Constituent Assembly debate, and I would very strongly recommend, especially the students, to go back in the history how India got the independence and how our constitution was given by all these leaders to the country. And there are 4 volumes of Constituent Assembly debate. They are just wonderful. It's like sitting in the parliament and they are debating over each comma and full stop also. And I tell you, there was no acrimony at all. I very strongly suggest you must have a glimpse of it. And Sam, if you go through that Constituent Assembly debate, and I have named a few of the leaders, and I can guarantee you in that Constituent Assembly debate, if you take all the members who were elected and selected, you put your hand on anybody, that person was fit enough to lead this country. But I, without fear of contradiction, in the parliament I represent, and I have no fear about talking what I am going to tell you now, that you put your hand not with your eyes closed, you won't find anybody who's really fit to lead this country. It has only taken almost 65 years. Where are the role models? What has happened? If you go to a common man, a rickshawala, a thelawala, a kelawala, I can guarantee you he still lives the Gandhinian value. But something perhaps to my perception, which you please can correct me, something has gone wrong with the Gangotri. And that is where the problem is, that whatever flows from the top is contaminated. How do you solve this? I personally feel, you please let me know if I am wrong, first we have to accept it. We are on a denial mode. I don't know what are your views on that.
First of all the leaders you mentioned, they were all part of the British movement or movement against British Raj. They were fighting enemy that you could identify. Enemy looked different, talked different, was occupying our territory, and the goal was to get the enemy out. So it was very straightforward. Now enemy is within each one of us. So that's one. Two, then life was very simple. Everyone was poor. So it really didn't matter much. You know, richest man was also okay. Now people see that path to richness could be shortened by lying, cheating, you know, doing things. So they all want to get there quickly. And it requires a lot of money to do anything. It requires too much money to fight elections. It requires too much money to, you know, marry your daughter or whatever. Okay? So people value money too much. And there is never enough money for anything in life. Everybody will have to make their own decision saying enough is enough here. Somebody will say here, somebody will say here. But nobody does that. If you have this much money, you want that much. If you have that much, you want that much. There is never an end to it. It is a rainbow you are chasing constantly. In the process, you spend your entire life. If this is a pile of money, you put that and you spend your entire life making sure that this pile is bigger, while this pile is destroyed. It's that simple. People don't want to build this. People want to build that. What do? You know, each one of us will have to decide how we want to live. I don't think you can change the world, according to me. If you change yourself, good start. It may take 20 years. So I can't sit here and criticize everybody because I'm not going to change them.
But you can recognize, no, that there is.
Of course, it is recognized by everybody, accepted by everybody.
Because if we are on a denial mode,
No. I don't think anybody is denying.
If we say that, you know, this democracy here to stay.
No, but Dinesh bhai, this is also true all over the world. It may be more true here, but don't underestimate the corruption in China, the corruption in Russia, corruption in America, corruption in Europe. Don't underestimate. I'm telling you, it is all there. It is little sophisticated. It is not at the petty level. So it doesn't affect average guy. But look at all the stock market scams.
But our problem here is the poor.
Of course, their problem is also poor.
And wherever they may have corruption, like for example in Japan, if a leader is caught or a political person is caught, then he's gone forever.
True.
But nothing happens to us.
True. But it doesn't
in our political life, I can tell you with my experience, seeing a lot of people in the arena, nothing happens to nobody.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean there is no corruption in Japan.
No, but why should we compare corruption elsewhere? Because world perhaps would be looking at India. That India is a model of Ram Rajya. And we had that
not
thing.
True.
But why can't we just self-correct ourselves?
So each one of us will have to self-correct.
Sure.
Okay? You and I cannot self-correct millions of others who are out there. Only thing we can do is say we will self-correct ourselves. If enough of us did that, it will make a difference. But my giving lecture to a bunch of MPs and politicians is not going to make any difference.
No, I think, Sam, what we are getting into today is the entire system. Now we are all relating this to Gandhi. Not that we have shifted the subject. All this is cleaning up the system. If you have people who do not deserve to be there, then obviously you will get bunch of crooks. And that is where the entire system gets contaminated. Let me go back to history a little. We all almost worship Gandhi. We try and, which is difficult, try to live the Gandhian philosophy. But now we have this My Baap syndrome, that the leader does no wrong. And we just have to bow down because difference is taken as defiance. You know, Gandhi, Patel, Nehru, Tilak, they had a lot of differences, Netaji, but those differences were not defiance. But I would like to go back to history, and I am not really a student of history, but I like to read history. While there were a lot of virtues, there have also been some criticism about Gandhi. And like in 1946, when we knew that we are going to get our independence as far as India is concerned, Maulana Azad was the president of the Congress party then. And it was very important whoever was the president of then the Congress party would become the Prime Minister of India. And history tells a little, I cannot vouch for the authenticity of it, that Maulana Azad himself was interested, but Gandhi said, no, we will not give you more than 4 terms. Somewhere down the line, Gandhi wanted Nehru to become the Prime Minister. And there was an election in which out of 15 PCC, Pradesh Congress Committee, history says Vallabhbhai Patel got 12 votes. Nehruji didn't get any vote. And as I read, Gandhiji mentioned to Kripalani that you go and collect some vote from CWC for Nehru. Whereas the votes were supposed to come from PCC and not CWC. There was technicality. And Gandhi was very clear that we want Nehru. And he asked Patel that you have got 12, you are overwhelmingly winning, but I would want you to step down. Patel was very loyal and he did step down, making way for Nehru. The question is, are we still following the same tradition if this history is correct?
No, assume that this history is correct. I won't put too much weight to it. See, I am not really interested in finding fault.
No, it's not finding
I'm
fault.
just telling my view. No, I
it is
understand.
just.
I'm saying, fine, so Gandhiji made a mistake. Big deal. Move on.
No, but are we following the same pattern?
Maybe we are. Maybe we are. I don't know. All I would say is we do not probably have the kind of democracy we need in political parties. That's a larger statement. In any party. That is true. Now, whether this fellow did that, that fellow did that, it's okay. I can't control that. That's how I look at it. Not that I'm right. I'm telling you my view. Because all I can do is recognize that this is something I can change. This is something I have no control over. So let's not waste time on it. Somebody asked me today, he said, why didn't you get into politics? Okay, I said, I'm not interested in it. Somebody said, why aren't you a minister? I said, I don't care. I have no interest in being a minister or politics. Is it right or wrong? I don't know. But each one of us will have to make our choices. Each one of us will have to build our own character. And that will define the character of a nation. If our politicians are corrupt because the nation is corrupt. Okay, don't tell me that everybody else is not corrupt and only politicians are corrupt. That is not true. That's the point I'm making. Everything you see in the system is a reflection of all of us. If there is a business giving money, somebody takes money. If you don't give money, nobody will take money. You can't blame one group of people. It is all of us. It's saying in my family, I have these problems. Okay? And I got to fix these problems as a family. And I can't point finger and saying that son is no good and that son is really bad. It's my family. Okay? I got to worry about it because I find that my family is corrupt. I find that my family is not disciplined. I find that my family doesn't clean garbage. You know, every time I come to Calcutta, I talk about garbage. Because I see this city full of garbage. Now, one could argue and say there isn't enough garbage. Okay? That city is very clean. But I find it to be not very clean. So, who do you blame for this? We blame all of us. That's the point I'm making.
But Sam, I personally feel, and being in public life for a while now, I think the entire system is totally getting contaminated. And if we do not recognize and collectively think about changing the system in a peaceful Gandhian democratic way, because we have seen what have happened in Egypt. They have made a mess of the entire country and there's a lot of killing every day. Perhaps that's not the solution in India. But at the same time, let me tell you, if we do not somehow change this system and encourage better people, if you have all the students sitting out there, and one of the main qualification to get into politics is to do chamchagiri. You be a mediocre. Yeah. And treat yourself absolutely like an insect. You are not good for anything, and you bow down to the entire system and don't stand up. It reminds me of Rabindranath Tagore, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Our minds are full of fear and the head is somewhere in the gutter. And Sam, I'm telling you with a lot of agony inside. The reason I brought up this incidence of Gandhiji is we don't really, in democracy, we don't need to follow the mistakes. We need to change. We have to be fearless.
So, first let's understand, nobody would disagree with you. Find me a person who would say, no,
but we
I
have
want
to change.
corruption.
No, not
Find me a
corruption.
person who would say, no, I want incompetence. The question is, who's going to do it?
No, that's why we all collectively have to do.
But
You know,
how?
for whatever reason,
How?
standing up to truth.
So how do you do that?
I'll tell you how.
Okay.
Today, of course, the media is there. I certainly don't care because somebody, said that you all phones are tapped. I don't care. Because whatever
So
I
media,
say...
let's assume that media will write.
No, doesn't matter. That's what
So-
I
no,
said.
so- but so what?
That's what I said. That is what I was just going to say, that I don't care. What I'm trying to tell you is, you have to have the bigger picture of the country first.
Agree.
Not your party,
Agree.
not even your leader.
Agree.
If you have the country first,
Agree.
then whatever you do, like in Parliament, every time there is a whip, we may agree. Today, a very unfortunate incident, I saw it on television in Lok Sabha. First time I saw somebody fiddling with the speaker's mic. Because the whole system, which was there in assembly, today came to Lok Sabha. Which is a sad commentary that while we are talking about Gandhi, while we are talking to be fearless, unless you have done something wrong, if you have not done anything wrong, differences never defines. And that is where I feel the youngsters must get encouragement, that you don't bow down. I'm not trying to tell that you be indisciplined and argue with the system. No. Do your thing, and somewhere down the line, when we take the oath, I think we have to take that our country will come first. Allegiance to the constituency is always there. Some system needs to be changed, and nobody better than you. On that very note, I think I have taken this. This is so interesting. And these days, Parliament doesn't function, and I don't get the opportunity to speak in Parliament. So I'm making the best of this opportunity.
That I agree.
So with your permission, we can throw the floor open, but only one caveat. During question hour in Parliament, before asking a question, we give a speech for 20 minutes. And the speaker or the chairman keeps on saying that what's your question? Since we do not have much time, we will not like to follow Parliament here. We would just ask question, and I think in all fairness, we should give chance to the student first, and then time permitting, we can just have others also ask questions. So may I request you to kindly, I think ushers are there, other students are moving around with microphone. If you can shut one light, because I can't see the hands. I see one hand there, right there. There are many hands, so when I say right there, whoever stands first and the mic, please ask. Please identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Miraj Bhagat, and good evening to both of you, great people.
Sorry.
Now I was going to suggest, one, please don't comment, just put question. Two, if you want to use this time effectively, if you can line up and have a microphone here, so at least students can line up, if not elders.
The whole hall will realize.
No. I hope not.
So they all will have.
I hope not. So we don't spend a lot of time.
Miraj, may I ask you to identify and ask them
Okay.
question rather than our identifying.
Yeah, we can't see from here.
Yeah.
So shall I ask?
Yeah.
Okay. How relevant is the idea of CSR activities in today's Gandhian ideology, or I would say, how do you rather implement corporate social responsibility in today's world to get the concept of Gandhian ideology very clear and fixed in the mind of all the young generation as well as the old generation? Could you please enlighten us?
CSR is a good idea. It allows some more funds to flow into needed activities related to education, health, food. We don't know how it is going to unfold. It is just beginning. So let's wait and watch. But I think the fact that we have started CSR activity, it's a right step forward. We hope that the Gandhian thought related to concern for poor, concern for minority is reflected in their activities. See, this is what I mean. Don't waste a lot of time between.
Okay, whoever
Shoot.
has the mic.
Yeah, shoot.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm
Where are
Shraddha
you?
Hindu.
Yeah, come little front. That's
Yeah,
it.
there.
Yeah, that's what I meant, you see.
Now the
Come
whole-
even front. Yeah.
Now we and the whole world can see you.
See, that's it. So now if somebody wants to ask a question, they stand behind you. That's it.
Somebody
Great.
can line up Viraj.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. Good. Oh my God.
I told you. Please identify yourself and ask.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Shraddha Hindocha. I would like to ask you that is it possible that the Gandhian doctrine of Sarva Dharma Sambhava, that is equal approach to all religion, can prove to be an antidote on the terrorism based on religious fanatism and extremism?
Yes. Answer is yes.
Could you please?
Next.
Could you please enlighten
Next
us on
question.
it?
I mean, the answer is yes.
Please, expand it a bit.
No, I think the question you have posed, it says, how would Gandhian basically relate to this terrorism and all? You know, it's very simple. Love for everybody means I have no fight with you. Why would I fight with you? You could be different, that's okay. You could eat meat, that's okay. I must agree on agreements and not worry about our disagreement. You see, all of us have disagreements. If we focus on disagreement, there is cause to fight. But we say, I'm not interested in your disagreement. Can we agree on 5 things? I want to build on that. If we disagree on 10, let's move on. I'll talk to somebody else on agreements. I want to work on only agreements. I do not want to work on disagreements. I think that was Gandhian way of looking at it. So you could be different, but I love you anyway. Okay. It's not easy to do that, believe me. You know, it's very difficult, but you have to train yourself. You can train yourself to love everybody, including the guy who is stabbing you in the back. You know he's stabbing you in the back. Love him anyway. It doesn't matter. You know, it's okay.
A very good afternoon. This is Payal Rekhawat. My question, is it possible that the pursuit of non-violence and ahimsa can lead to the
Excuse
emancipation
me. Relax. Yeah.
can lead to the emancipation of mankind from the evil effects of power politics?
See, the world has been fighting for long time. World War II was the last big fight. And that fight, according to me, got settled because of technology of atom bomb. If atom bomb had not been invented, this is one man's view, we would have World War III. We'll never have World War III. But we still have war in Afghanistan, war in, Korea, war in Iraq and all. Okay. This whole mindset comes from controlling somebody. That was the 19th century, 20th century framework. 21st century framework is not going to be about fighting with somebody and controlling somebody. is going to be about knowledge. 21st century is all about knowledge. And that's where I see hope in India. The one who fights in 21st century is not going to go too far. All of these wars, according to me, are going to go down, but terrorism will continue, because that's one little incident. You send 10 guys and do some mischief and then run away. That's not a war. So you will see more terrorism. Wars have settled. Look at it this way. Big wars done. Little wars continuing. They are going to be done. Terrors will continue. It will take 100 years to settle terror also. Okay. Ultimately, you will see a world which will be at peace. Poverty will be eliminated. It is going to happen. We have eliminated in this world poverty for 700 million people in the last 15 years. All of those, most of those were in China. Now it is our job for the next 10 to 15 years to get 500 million out of poverty through technology, prosperity, business, entrepreneurs, innovations, market, commerce, all that. We have the largest number of poor and we have the largest number of hungry. We have 200 million hungry people in this country, but we have enough surplus food to feed 500 million hungry, but we can't bring that food to the right people. Technology is going to help. So I see a world where your generation will live to be 200 years. 200 years of lifespan. When I was growing up, lifespan was 54. So we assume that at 60 you'll die. I had 2 quadruple bypasses, I had cancer, I'm 71, and I work 16 hours a day, thanks to technology. Biotech, nanotech, materials, stem cell research will make sure that you live to be 150. Guaranteed. Okay?
A very good evening to sir. Sir, I have a question to you.
Hold on, they are here.
Okay.
They are here.
नीचे आएंगे.
We'll come to this. We'll finish that and then go there. We'll finish 1 or 2 here and then go there.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ranju Bhutodia. And so my question is that we all know that about the Gandhian principle of non-violence, and seeing the present day scenario, the brutal acts which are going on the Indian-Pakistan border with the recent happenings at Kashmir and China interfering, do you think that his principle of non-violence is still relevant in this 21st century?
I think so.
So because India has kept tolerant for quite
So
a while.
somebody will fight. You can't change them. You can change yourself.
So but we are the ultimate sufferers right
But that's
now.
okay. That's all right for a while. If somebody hits you, let them hit for a while. It's okay. I mean, it's a matter of philosophy. Okay? You can also fight. Then you'll escalate. You can fight. That's your option. But you'll escalate. See, only strong people don't fight. You must understand that. We take on fight very easily. We are a country of a 1.2 billion. We must have that respect. We must act like a country of 1.2 billion. We can't act like Banana Republic. Okay, just because somebody is doing something, we can't show our muscles. That's not nice. But it's a philosophy. You don't have to agree with it. Okay, we can go up there and then we take one there and one here. Okay?
Yes, sir. A very good evening to you. I have a question to you. That is that we all say that Gandhiji is someone whom we all should follow. He had his own discipline and his simplicity. He never believed in one thing, that is separation, religion, and the last of all, that is the most important in this world, that is education should be given to all. But why today in this world, if we refer to the rural areas, then after a certain period of age, even after being government schools held there, the students are just dropped out, whether it's for financial stake or some other. Where is Gandhiji at fault there? He didn't mention this, that a student shouldn't get education, but he actually mentioned that everyone has the right to possess each and everything which the nation offers. So, sir, please can you answer this?
First of all, I really don't understand your question that well. But that's okay. That's okay. See, let me tell you as a young man from my experience.
So I repeat, This
In
time
this
a bit
country-
slowly. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. In this country, if you want, you can do anything. If you don't want, you can blame everybody. You are looking at a man whose father had 4th grade education. I had no money to go to college. I did all that. Nobody helped me. I didn't ask for anything. I had to fight like hell. I had to work 20 hours a day. Some are lucky. They didn't have to work 20 hours a day. They were given in silver spoon. That's okay. That's all right. I'm not complaining. This country gives you all the opportunities you want. Go get it done. Don't blame anybody. Here in the world, let me tell you, I remember somebody asked me the other day, saying, what did India do for you? I said, where in the world I can get a master's in physics for $50? Nowhere else in the world you can do that. So don't underestimate the potential in this country.
Good evening, sir. So my name is Rahul Jalan.
Speak a little louder.
Sir, today we have so many reservations for the backward classes, just so that we could bring them at par with the general category. So don't you think that instead of these reservations, we could give them facilities so that the merit prevails and the quality of services that is offered is best possible, and the country progresses in the end?
Look, our Supreme Court has decided that this is the decision on quota. Live with it, respect it, and don't complain.
But Sam, I just would like to interject here a little. When the Constitution was formed, we had a time limit that we'll have 20 years. And by the 20 years, end of the 20 years, because it's a fact of life that there are Dalits, there are people who are underprivileged, and people who need to be helped. But after that cutoff, I personally feel it's all politics.
No, that's right.
And I would say, this is my view, you don't have to agree.
Yeah, okay.
It's better that somebody is taught how to fish rather than give him fish all the time. Because you are making him dependent. And if you want quality, if you want people, yes, you by all means, you give them free education. Give them everything the person needs. But not on political things, not because of vote bank. That's my personal very strong view. You need to help them, but don't make them dependent. I'm a pilot. If you have a reserve quota of a pilot who can't really make the grade, would you sit in that airplane knowing that?
All I'm saying is if Supreme Court has made a decision, see, it's like playing it to the gallery. It's like playing it to the gallery. I'm telling you, if Supreme Court made the decision, whether we say our Supreme Court is incompetent is a different issue. Having made that decision, just move on. Now, they may have made a wrong decision.
No, but
I'm not saying that. Okay?
I don't want to argue this, labor this point, but very honestly, the courts are here not to fix the dates of election. Courts are here not to say how you get rid of pollution. Courts are here to interpret law.
So our courts
And
are not
that is
working.
where-
That's possible.
That is where what happens. The court gives a judgment when you said transparency, right? Right to information. Today, all our political parties, excepting TMC, got together and negated the information commission where you have to have information about political parties. Why can't political parties give their information?
They should.
We collect money from people.
They should.
And I would go one step forward, that even whoever is elected, people have a right to know what is he doing, how did he get his car, if Dinesh Trivedi has a Montblanc pen, where did you get it from?
Sure.
You know, all these things. So when we are hiding behind that, where is right to information? And that is where I feel the country cannot keep quiet. People are angry and very upset. Very honestly, I am also very upset.
So good, you're right. You're right to be angry, and I have right to
But
be angry.
courts are today also, and when you talk about corruption, I can be hauled off for contempt. If you go through Vora committee report, There is so much of corruption in judiciary. And courts have no business to tell the executive, because the court gives some judgment. On this, the court has given judgment, but very intelligently we will change and come up with an act to nullify the court also.
Courts are the reflection of our society. Same thing like government. Same thing like, politicians. Same thing like bureaucracy.
I agree.
I mean, people say bureaucracy. I say, look, they are my cousins. How can I forget? My uncle is a bureaucrat and my, Jija may be a politician. They are all there. Okay? That's what we got. Okay? See, I firmly believe that the problem is here. Problem is never there. Okay? Of course there are problems there, but I can't do anything. How can I dictate everybody do this and do that, and you should be honest and you should be sincere and you should do this? That's what we got. If we want to complain, fine. If you look at all the problems in India, best thing to do is not get up in the morning. Okay? Sleep and you will have no problem. If you want to get up, start fighting one by one. And maybe it will take 50 years, something will happen. It took 20 years to fix India's telecom. When I came here, we had 2 million phones for 750 million people. Today, we have 900 million phones, and we are a nation of a connected billion. It took exactly 20 years of constant fight every day with everybody, and give your 20 years of your life. Your family in mess, you lost your shirt, you work without salary, you got to do that. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Nobody is asking you to do it. It's your option. You can complain that phones don't work, which is fine. Or you say, don't complain, just fix it. Find me men and women who are going to get these things done. It will happen.
But that's what I meant.
Find me a person who says, I will fix water problem. I will fix energy problem. Kurian did fix milk problem. Sarabhai fix space problem. Baba fix atomic energy. Swaminathan fix food. Find me people who will say, I will fix this problem, and it will get fixed. But it will take 20 years.
But that's what I meant.
Yeah.
That we can't accept it, we have to fight. Like
So you have to.
That's exactly.
I agree.
That you have
But that's
to
what
fight.
democracy is all about.
And that's where you have to try and change.
That's what democracy
That's
is all
where
about.
you mentioned that be the change you want.
Yeah, that's what democracy is all about.
Finally, we agree on something.
No, we always agree. That's why we are friends.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. My name is Akash Gupta.
Where are you?
I'm over here, sir.
Oh.
Right here. Sir, hello. Yes. Today we are having this seminar on Gandhi. On one hand, we celebrate Gandhi and Gandhism together. But on the other hand, we have a live example of Gandhi in this country only. She is the lady of Manipur. Her name is Iram Shamila, and she has been fasting for 15 years. 15 years, my friend, not a joke. And she is following the principles of Mahatma Gandhi, Satyagraha, non-violence. And she has not got her independence. India is independent, but Manipur is not independent. So, sir, do you still think that Gandhian principles work today? Is the government really going to work something for Manipur?
I think that decision will have to be by the parliament. That is not a decision for me or somebody else. You have to respect the system you got. You may not have the most efficient system, but that's what you got. I can't promise you saying, yes, Manipur will get independence. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means lie. Okay? I'm not going to lie to you. I'll tell you what I can do and I'll tell you what I can't do. Okay? That is very Gandhian. Accept the reality as it is. There are things I have control over. There are things I have no control over. This is one of those I have nothing to do with it.
If I just also may, I think your question more was whether those kind of principle and satyagraha works today or not. I personally feel it works. The reason I feel it worked that I do not know whether you are from Manipur or from wherever, but the fact is you are asking this question. The fact is everybody is supporting you on this issue. It means people's conscience have been stirred. But the fact also is there that there is a transformation of values. The kind of leaders I just mentioned are no more there in Parliament, my colleagues. So obviously their set of values are very different. If today, by the way, it is not the independence of Manipur, they just want to change some laws, right? If they had, let's say, 40 MP seats, then people would be concerned. Since Manipur is a small state, which is very unfortunate, that people are not as concerned. So what would I do? We'd talk to her and tell that these are the problems, convince her that for the betterment of the entire country, this is the way going forward. And that I totally agree with you, that my heart also really goes to her, and I feel that something definitely needs to be done. There was another person who fasted for Ganga. What you saw in Uttarakhand, he had felt, he was a saintly person, he felt that this is going to happen. And he gave up his life, he is dead. But nobody did anything to save his life. Nobody knew. The media also did not highlight that as much. So somewhere, we are somewhere in between. I personally feel it's not totally lost. If it was totally lost, we wouldn't even be talking about it.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Moyuk Joy Dasgupta. Mahatma Gandhi had said, if you take an eye for an eye, then the whole nation and the whole world will go blind. Now, in today's world, when we find that corruption, terrorism, and other scandals like that are at their peak, then now when we catch the culprits, some people are saying that they should be hanged, they should be stoned to death, give them life imprisonment, all that. Now, if we follow Gandhi's principle, as he had said, non-violence at all points of time, if someone hits you, give him a hug, then how can we apply his principles in these regards? What can we do to show that he's relevant as of now? His principles are very much important as of now.
Choice is yours. Choice is yours. What do you want to do? If somebody hits you, you have an option. You can kill him, that's one extreme, just because he hit you. You can hit him back, or you keep quiet and explain to him. The option is yours. You know, personal choice. As an individual, as a group, as a nation, option is yours.
So this
is
is
the whole line?
No, they are.
I can't see. Now I can see.
Their turn will come during breakfast time.
Okay. What time? Until what time? When is our next?
Another
When is our
10
next
minutes.
When is our next meeting?
That's in salt. 10 minutes.
Okay.
Sir, I am Arpit Rathi. Sir, today the whole world is moving towards urbanization, but Mahatma Gandhi strongly felt that we should strengthen the poor in the country and village culture should be strengthened. What do you think? Are we heading towards that situation? Is Mahatma Gandhi still relevant in this situation, sir?
Urbanization has been the way of life for a while, mainly because in rural areas you don't have the services. You don't have power, you don't have schools, you don't have hospital. And when I talked about web, we believe that web is going to take new services to rural areas. With web, you can be back office of the urban areas. So a lot of jobs will move to rural areas. Not that people won't move to urban areas. Some people will move all over the world, that's a trend, because urban areas offer better social life. But when urban areas are very crowded, people will decide to stay where they are. You know, it all depends from place to place. I mean, would you rather live in a small little 6 by 10 room in Mumbai, or in a village where you have 3-bedroom home. Choice is yours again.
I think in all fairness, we should even allow somebody else also if they have a question.
Yeah, I think maybe the students are done.
The
Maybe-
student, there are 2 more students, 3 more, we'll have
Okay,
them.
okay.
But if we can have somebody from the audience as
Older
well,
generation.
from the Gandhian generation, not that old.
Yes, go ahead, shoot.
Should I? Yeah, hi. This is Shekhar. Just one small thing, people have been asking questions, and you've been telling them that it's your choice. So I was just wondering, this portal that you're creating, it is your choice, right? Who you get this to open from on 2nd of September. Do you think getting it open from a politicians makes the right choice? Why don't you find somebody who's actually followed the Gandhian policies and Gandhian principles to open this portal rather than asking 2 politicians to open this?
They'll be all there.
If this is your choice, my request is please find somebody better.
Okay, first of all, there'll be 100 people there. There will be about 60 or 70 Gandhians, including the entire board of the Gandhi Ashram. Okay. Since government provided funding for it, Department of Culture decided to inaugurate in Delhi. Doesn't have to be in Delhi, it could have been in Ahmedabad. Okay. But since the money came from the Department of Culture, it was their decision. Okay. But there will be all Gandhians there, the entire board from Gujarat will be there. And they'll be all Gandhians. I don't know whether you know the board. Modi would be there, not Narendra Modi, the other Modi, who is on the Gandhi board. So they'll be all there.
Yes.
Sir, my name is Ishan Vashisht. Sir, it is believed that information is the 4th pillar of democracy along with legislature, executive and judiciary. If information is the 4th pillar of judiciary, why isn't government often unwilling to share the data? Why isn't the information democratized?
It is happening. It's a cultural thing. Information is power. Not many people like to share. It takes time. When we started, nobody wanted to share data. In 9 months, 3,700 data sets are open. In 6 months, 10,000 data sets would be open. Maybe in 2 years, 50,000 data sets would be open. All of these things are processes. These things take time. People don't want to give that data because they control it. They derive power from controlling this data. So it's natural. It's happening already.
So we'll have last 2 questions.
One question.
I know we could have gone on and on because it's so very interesting.
Like Gandhiji gave us a reading habit by Navprakash Jivan where we got probably book.
Can't hear you.
So Gandhiji and Navprakash Jivan, and we get all the books by Gandhiji in 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 15 rupees. Can we get a suggestive from your side where as a youth we can promote education and reading habits among youth, where we can publish books by great people of India like Tilak, Lala Rajpat Rai, and we give it to people or students at a price of 50 rupees, 10 rupees, so that we can, if they don't read those people, we end up reading 3 mistakes of our life where our life is filled with mistakes. If it's what we give, we get back. If we give them Tilak, Netaji, Gandhiji, we'll get back them from them. It's a society where we hardly find youth reading and discussing about those things. So suggest a way where we can promote those reading habits in students at a limited price where they can go and buy books.
Today, all of this information is available on the internet. Everything is available. Go see it. Go see it. So go see it.
60% of the population are below poverty line. They can't afford 2 times food.
Hold on. See, in India, it is very easy to identify problems. You think I don't know 60% of the population doesn't have internet? Hold on. Just quite quiet for a minute. 40% of the people who have access, do they read? That's the question we have to ask. Okay? Hold on.
Don't argue.
Glass is always either half empty or half full. I wish all 100% of the people will have free health, PhD, lots of food. That's not how the world works, okay? Unfortunately, we have to build on what we got. This is what we got. It's like a family. In the family, we have so much, okay? So we have to decide to distribute and work with that much. We can't say that in the family, only if we have this much, we need to go steal and get some more. In our family today, only 40% of the people have access to web, let's say, or even 10%. Are these 10% reading? Are they reading the book on Tilak? I think that's the question we have to ask. Rather than saying 60% don't have it, 60% don't have water, 60% don't have health service, 60% don't have electricity, or whatever the number is. Rather than complaining about that, let's see what we do with what we got. That's how families work. In India, everybody is quick to complain. I'm telling you, and I'm sick of it. You got to take responsibility as citizen. Everybody wants to blame everybody else, saying, give me this, and give me some more, and give me free. I think we will have to learn that we are a poor country. We have limited resources. We'll continue to be poor for next 30, 40, 50 years perhaps. Until we grow at 8 to 10% for next 30, 40 years, we will have poor people. Too bad. That's the way life works. Africa will remain poor. Europe will continue to have the prosperity they have. You can't compare Japan and America. You just can't compare. It's like saying, I want to compare with Mukesh Ambani's family. Can't do it. Okay? He may have 150 cars and I may have only one car, so you got to be happy with it. That's how we will have to think. We are a poor country. We must accept that. We have long way to go, and only you can make it happen. Nobody else can make it happen. That would be my advice. Okay, with this I think we can probably...
I can just, I'll just add to your question. One of the ways of doing it is to have these kind of literature as your curriculum. And certainly India is a country with so many languages and so many, diversification. So perhaps this also could be considered, that while we have electronics, we could also have some kind of a subsidized. I think it's already there.
The libraries are there.
Gandhi's library is already there. But if it is available to the masses, then we can have best of both the worlds. Perhaps that's the way to look at it as well. One last question, sir.
Okay. So India has about 1 crore educated unemployed.
1 crore?
Educated unemployed. In spite of the fact that about 2.5 million engineers are being enrolled into its engineering colleges every year, the scenario is not changing. Furthermore, the poor, if this thing continues, if this situation persists, then instead of getting motivated, people would get demotivated to work in this era where even the poor are also aiming high. So according to you, what suggestions can be implemented in the education sector so as to better this situation in order to ameliorate the sufferings?
I would recommend that you read recommendations of the Knowledge Commission, which talks about mismatch between what we produce and what we need. A lot of our engineers coming out of college are not equipped to read well, write well, work well. Infosys of the world have to retrain them. So what our colleges produce is not what our industry can use. Quality of education, leaving aside top 5% of the universities, is pretty bad. But if you get a degree from IIT, you'll get a job. If you get a degree from some Timbuktu college, which is in 3-room building, you won't get a job. But that's the standard we have. If you have good education, you will get a job. If you have lousy education but just a degree, you will not get a job. Why would anybody hire you? Then you go get some better education, go get some extra learning, and then If you are qualified, they'll hire you. You know, industry want people. See, on one hand, there are a lot of unemployed. On the other hand, you can't find enough truck drivers qualified. You can't find plumber. You can't find electrician. You can't find good carpenter. So there is a mismatch, supply and demand.
The lady, one lady was standing here, let her be the last. We end with a question from a lady, or a girl, I think, college girl.
Check.
See, we are very partial to, the chief minister of the state is also a lady. And I like to have my job, so I would give a chance to the ladies.
Sir, I am Dipti Upadhyay.
Sorry?
I am Dipti Upadhyay. And my question is that nowadays we are into an online education system. Many of the institutions are providing degrees even online. Would you like to enlighten on us where the colleges are standing in this era?
I have a very strong view on the use of internet for education. I have publicly said that if I had a child today, I would never send that child to school. Because to learn, you need three things: motivation, time, and content. Best of the best content is available on the internet. I don't need teacher to create content and deliver content. If I want to learn, I don't need to go to college or school, but I may need a mentor. Mentor could be my neighbor, could be a businessman, could be my teacher. But we have created a system where everybody has to go to school, everybody has to get a certificate, everybody has to spend 4 years getting a degree, everybody has to get a certificate to get a job. That system is about to collapse world over, because it served its purpose for few hundred years. With internet, learning models are very different. I have a 6-year-old niece in Ohio who one day came to me and said, I have done a white paper on lady doctor. I said, what do you mean? I said, I thought you can't even read. She said, no, I asked my mom one day, why do all my doctors turn out to be male? And my mom said, I don't know. So I decided to Google. 6-year-old. So when I Googled, I learned that there was a lady doctor called Elizabeth who was the first MBBS. She said, I decided to learn more about this lady doctor. So I Googled some more. And when I told this to my older sister, who is 9-year-old, she said, don't tell me this, do a white paper for me. 6-year-olds do these things today. Now when that kid goes to school, teacher will say A, B, C, and the kid will say, I'm bored. Who do you think I am? This is the world we live in today. But our systems are disconnected with the needs of the young. Have you ever seen a young person reading a manual of cell phone?
None of them read.
They know how to operate. Okay? How do they do that? Why do these people produce manual? Nobody reads it. But that's the legacy of the past. In education, we have lot of excess baggage of the past. It'll take decades to sort it out. It's going to happen.
Well, thank you, everybody. And the formal vote of thanks would be there, but before that, let me thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
I think it has been a wonderful evening, very fruitful, informative,
Thank you.
knowledgeable, and I think it's a food for thought. The food security bill is there in the parliament, whether it's going to be passed or not, but this food for thought is certainly going to be very important for all of us. Thank you very much. Thank
So I want to thank Miraj and the organizers.
to everybody, a
All of
wonderful
them.
way, and thank you, students.
And thanks.
Thank you. Vote of thanks.
On behalf of the entire Bhawanipur Education Society College, my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Sam Pitroda for honoring us with his presence here this evening. Sir, So without your knowledge, this evening would have just been a waste. Now I would also like to thank Shri Dinesh Trivedi, Honorable Member of the Parliament. Sir, all your advices were very valuable to us. Thank you for being with us and guiding us this entire event. Now may I thank the entire management committee for their leadership and their support. Without you people, I'm sure this event would have been a mass failure. And last but not the least, thank you to all the students, teachers, management and support staff for your devotion and cooperation. Lastly, I would request each and everybody present here to please rise for the national anthem. Thank you.
Somebody has to start. Jaya He Bharat Bhavya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravid Uttar Banga Indra Himachal Yamuna Ganga Uttara Jagati Taranga Tav Shubha Name Jage Tav Shubha Ashish Mange Gaye Tav Jai Data Janagana Mangal Dayak Jai Bharat Bhavya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He Jaya 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 He.
May I request everyone to please remain seated while our chief guest and the guest of honor leave.
सामने सामने खुली सामने खाली खोलो
Bye. Thank you.
पूरे सामने तो जाना देखिए
Bye. नमस्कार. Thank you. अरे वाह हिंदी पढ़ा तो शुद्ध हिंदी जब कोई बोलता है तो वैसे लगते हैं कि कविता
Position of implementation of your advice to the state government regarding education or IT policy.
You have to ask state government because they are implementing it. I do not know the position because they are in charge of implementing.
So you have noticed anything your advice is properly implemented or not?
You have to ask them.
Last 2 years you have any contact with them?
Not much.
You are eager to contact but they are not.
I am always available because that's my job.
But they are not contact you last 2 years almost.
If they contact, I am always available.
But whether they have contacted you after September 2011?
development. So, what do you think? What steps should be taken to develop for development and safety?
IT section cannot be developed overnight. The fundamental issue with IT is human capacity. If you have a lot of good engineers, people will come to you.